Evelyn Marlowe, 31, sat in her sleek office overlooking the bustling dining room of Marlowe's, her flagship restaurant nestled in the heart of Canterbury, a charming market town in southeast England. The early November chill seeped through the tall glass windows, but inside, the scent of rosemary, garlic, and freshly baked bread filled the air like a warm embrace. Around her, the staff prepared for one of the busiest nights of the year. Thanksgiving was only 2 days away, and the 7 restaurants and 2 catering companies under Thompson Culinary Holdings were buzzing with anticipation. Her mug of coffee sat forgotten, now cold, as she traced her fingers over the holiday staffing chart sprawled across her desk. Evelyn had built this empire from scratch, leaving behind a law degree that never quite fit her soul. She'd traded courtrooms for kitchens and late-night studies for early mornings kneading dough in a battered food truck. Her empire wasn't just numbers and recipes. It was the embodiment of her grit and sacrifice. Then, her phone buzzed sharply. A message from her mother, terse and cutting as a chef's knife. Evelyn, we've decided on family only for Thanksgiving this year. Find somewhere else to eat. The reservation at Marlowe's is just for the real family. Mom. Evelyn stared at the screen, the words sinking like a lump of cold pudding stuck in her throat. Family only. The real family. The casual cruelty shimmered beneath the surface like a knife's edge, sharper than any blade in her kitchen. Her mother's honesty was always blunt, but this was deliberate exile, a public declaration of dismissal. Taking a shaky breath, Evelyn opened the reservation system. The irony was almost comical. Marlowe's party of 12. Thanksgiving, 4:20 p.m. private dining room. Premium holiday menu. Wine pairings and seasonal floral arrangements. Booked under Mrs. Thompson's name. Her mother had excluded her from the family dinner, then chosen Marlowe's, the jewel in Evelyn's culinary crown, to flaunt their perfect gathering. The one place she had poured every late night, every sacrifice, every dream. She leaned back, watching the dining room below where waiters moved like dancers, glasses sparkled, and chefs orchestrated their symphony of cooking. To the world, Evelyn was a rising star, a restaurant mogul with a million-pound empire. To her family, she was the disappointment who dropped out of law school to play with food trucks. Her phone buzzed again. Marcus, her general manager, with his usual calm professionalism. Morning, Evelyn. Ready for the big week? She swallowed hard. Marcus, we need to talk about the Thompson reservation on Thursday. Of course. Party of 12, private dining room, premium package. Your mother seemed excited when she booked it. Said it'd be a perfect family celebration. Perfect family celebration without me. That I need you to cancel it. There was a pause. Cancel? 2 days before Thanksgiving? Nearly £2,500 on the line. Foods ordered, staff assigned, room decorated. I'll cover the costs. Cancel it. His voice softened. May I ask why? Is there an issue with payment? Personal reasons. Please call Mrs. Thompson and inform her Marlowe's can't accommodate their party. Another pause, heavier this time. You know finding a table for 12 on Thanksgiving in Canterbury is nearly impossible, right? Evelyn let out a bitter laugh. I'm sure they'll manage. She watched the restaurant pulse with energy, the life she had built humming beneath the surface of her family's rejection. Her siblings, Michael, the polished solicitor with a tailored suit and a sharper tongue, and Ashley, the devoted nurse with 2 kids and a predictable life, were the trophies on the mantelpiece. And she, the daughter who chose a kitchen over a courtroom, who never married, who was an inconvenient truth they preferred to hide. Her phone buzzed again. Messages from her siblings floated in like band-aids on a festering wound. Ashley. * Mum told me about Thanksgiving. Are you okay? Want to come to ours instead? * Michael. * Mum wants to. Keep it simple this year. Don't take it personally. * Evelyn ignored them all. The steel in her heart was gathering strength. Later, Marcus called back. I spoke to your mother. She wasn't pleased. Demanded to speak with you directly. I told her there was a scheduling conflict in the private dining room, and the main room was fully booked. Perfect, Evelyn said quietly. She's upset. Said it's ruining the holiday. Family flying in. Uncle Robert, Cousin Mary. She's desperate. Of course she is. Marcus hesitated. Why cancel your own family's dinner? Because they uninvited me. He was silent. But you are family. Apparently not the right kind. As the day wore on, Evelyn's phone buzzed incessantly. Her family suddenly panicked, scrambling to keep up appearances. They wanted their perfect dinner back, their image intact, but they had cast her aside as if she were an inconvenient shadow. Then her mother called, voice trembling with false sweetness and panic. Evelyn, something terrible happened. Marlowe's canceled our reservation 2 days before Thanksgiving. Can you believe it? Evelyn bit her cheek to keep from laughing. Oh no, that's awful. Which restaurant? Marlowe's. It was perfect. Everything arranged, and now it's ruined. Uncle Robert's flying in. Cousin Mary's driving from Brighton. Everyone was coming. You work in restaurants. Do you know anyone who could help us find somewhere elegant? She stared at the ceiling light, the irony blinding. The woman who had excluded her was now begging for her help. That I might know some people, she said carefully. What kind of place are you looking for? Somewhere impressive. You know how Robert brags about his children. We wanted to show the family we're doing well. Marlowe's was perfect. So exclusive. 3 stars. We were so excited to tell everyone we'd be dining there. Her grip tightened. Impressive. Exclusive. Perfect. Not a word about love. Not a word about family. Let me see what I can do. As she hung up, a fire sparked within her chest. Part pain, part fierce resolve. If her family wanted a performance, then maybe it was time she stepped onto the stage. The curtain was about to rise. By mid-afternoon, the streets of Canterbury thrummed with the pre-Thanksgiving bustle. Shoppers hurrying beneath crimson and gold leaves. Shop windows dressed in twinkling fairy lights, and the scent of roasted chestnuts drifting from market stalls. Yet inside Evelyn's office, the world felt suspended. A quiet storm brewing behind the glass. Her phone buzzed again. Ashley's text blinked insistently. Asterisk Mum's panicking. She's calling everywhere. No one has space for 12. She's crying. Could you maybe reach out to some contacts? Please? Asterisk Evelyn stared at the screen, stomach twisting. The unspoken plea was clear. Asterisk fix this. Save us. Asterisk but why should she? Let them scramble. Let the perfect facade crack. Yet beneath the simmering resentment, a quieter voice urged her forward. This was her moment, not just to help, but to make herself seen. To force them to face the truth they had long ignored. She dialed Marcus, who answered on the first ring. Evelyn, has your mother called back? 3 times, he said grimly, each more desperate than the last. She asked if we could recommend other restaurants. I gave her some names. But honestly, everything's booked. She was on the verge of tears. Tears. The word felt like a knife twisting in her chest. Marcus, she said, voice steady now, what if we gave them the reservation back? There was a long pause. You want to reinstate it? Yes, but with one change. What change? The party of 12 becomes a party of 13. His intake of breath crackled over the line. You mean you'll be joining them? Yes. After they uninvited me? Exactly. If they want their perfect dinner, they'll have to make room for me. Marcus was silent for a heartbeat, then chuckled softly. That's bold. Necessary as the call ended. A strange calm settled over Evelyn. For years, she had let their judgments define her. But this Thanksgiving, she would no longer be invisible. The stage was set, and whether her family liked it or not, she was stepping into the spotlight. That evening, the town glowed with festive lights, shop windows sparkling like jewels. Yet Evelyn sat alone in her office, the cityscape glittering beyond the window, her thoughts a tempest. The phone rang. Mom, she answered cautiously. Evelyn, please tell me you found something. Everything is booked. I can't believe Marlowe's would cancel like that. It's humiliating. Robert arrives tomorrow and… Mom, Evelyn interrupted gently. I might be able to help. There was a pause, then a fragile hope in her voice. Really? You can? You'd be saving us. I have some connections, Evelyn said carefully. Someone with influence. Oh, Evelyn. That would be incredible, her mother breathed. You're a lifesaver. What do we need to do? There's one condition, Evelyn said. Her mother's breath hitched. Condition? Yes. The reservation will be for 13 people. Not 12. Silence stretched so long Evelyn could hear her own heartbeat. Point 13? But who would the 13th be? Me, Evelyn said simply. The quiet that followed was louder than any shout. Her mother's voice was strained. Evelyn, we just assumed you'd be too busy. Busy or not, I'm family, Evelyn said firmly. If Marlowe's reopens that dining room for you, then I'll be seated at that table. She imagined her mother pacing the kitchen floor, phone pressed to her ear, pride and panic wrestling in her chest. Evelyn, this dinner is important. We wanted to show the family we're doing well. Robert brags about his children constantly, and we thought. You thought I'd spoil the picture. No, Mom, Evelyn finished for her. It's exactly that. There was a shaky inhale. All right. 13. A strange satisfaction unfurled in Evelyn's chest. Not triumph, but something darker, heavier. For the first time, her mother was bargaining with her, not dismissing her. Good, Evelyn said. I'll make the calls. As she ended the call, she sat back, eyes on the city skyline. The irony was so thick it felt surreal. Her mother, who had deemed her unworthy of the family's Thanksgiving, was now begging for access to her own restaurant. Marcus knocked softly before entering. You wanted to see me? I'm reinstating the Thompson reservation, Evelyn said, standing. Party of 13 this time. His brow lifted, but he said nothing. Consider it done. I'll adjust the orders and staffing. Thank you. She exhaled, almost to herself. Tomorrow, they'll sit in that room and see me clearly. Marcus studied her with quiet concern. Do you want them to know? Not yet. Not all at once. Tonight, they just think I pulled strings. Tomorrow, they'll learn the truth. He nodded slowly. Understanding this was about more than logistics. It was years of silence and dismissal boiling to the surface. Later that night, Ashley called. Unlike their mother, her voice carried genuine warmth. Evelyn, is it true? You got the reservation back? Yes. Oh, thank God. Mum was hysterical. She said you worked a miracle. I don't know how you did it, but thank you. Her gratitude warmed Evelyn, though beneath it lay the same blind spot. Ashley hesitated. Did it ever bother you that Mum said family only? Evelyn asked softly, did it? Of course it did. But you know Mum. She didn't mean it literally. She meant it enough to exclude me. Ashley sighed, guilt thick in her voice. I just didn't want to make it worse. That was their family's story. No one wanted to make it worse, so they let it stay bad. Evelyn stared into the dark, city lights casting scattered reflections on the glass. Tomorrow wasn't just dinner. It was theater. Her family wanted a perfect image for Uncle Robert. She was about to give them one. But the image wouldn't belong to them. It would belong to her. The curtain was rising and the spotlight was finally hers. Thanksgiving morning dawned over Canterbury with a muted gray sky, the kind of chill that made breath visible and fingers numb. Inside Marlowe's kitchen, the atmosphere was electric, steam curled from bubbling pots. Knives struck cutting boards in sharp rhythms, and chefs moved in perfect sync, a culinary ballet perfected through years of practice. Evelyn strode through the maze of gleaming stainless steel and polished counters, her tailored emerald green dress hugging her figure elegantly, the subtle shimmer catching the morning light. Her black stilettos clicked softly on the tiled floor, and a delicate silver pendant rested at her collarbone. A quiet nod to the woman she was becoming, firm, graceful, and undeniably present. She paused briefly by the window, eyeing the private dining room below, where tables were draped in crisp white linens, crystal glasses catching the light, and floral arrangements featuring deep red roses and sprigs of holly added festive warmth. This was her kingdom, and tonight it would be the stage for a reckoning long overdue. Her phone buzzed. Unsurprisingly, it was her mother, voice coated in syrupy sweetness. Evelyn, thank you again for pulling strings. Marlowe's reinstated us. It's a miracle. Robert's already in town, and he was thrilled. You're amazing. Evelyn's lips curled into a faint smile, though inside she simmered. A week ago, she was too busy, too different, too much of a disappointment to be invited. Now, She was a miracle. I'm glad it worked out, she said evenly. I told your father you must know someone important. Who is it? The manager? The chef? Her mother laughed nervously. Well, thank heavens you do. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. Robert brags about his son, the surgeon, and his daughter, the investment banker. This was our chance to show we're doing just as well. Evelyn's grip tightened on the phone. Mom, do you ever wonder why I'm not someone you brag about? There was a hesitant pause. Evelyn, that's not fair. Isn't it Michael's law practice, Ashley's family? You parade them around like trophies. What am I to you? You think I'm different? Evelyn said softly, the word dripping with years of bruising. Different enough to be excluded. The call ended shortly after, the brittle silence between them heavier than any argument. By mid-afternoon, her siblings began messaging. Michael's was curt. Asterisk Mom says you saved Thanksgiving. Thanks. Asterisk Ashley's was warmer. Asterisk I'm glad you'll be with us tonight. It wouldn't feel right without you. Asterisk at 3 p.m., Marcus appeared in her office. Everything's ready. Private dining room set. Staff prepped. The Thompsons arrive at 4. Evelyn straightened her jacket. The emerald fabric a sharp contrast against the neutral tones around her. Good. Tonight, the secret ends. Marcus studied her, concern softening his eyes. You don't have to do this. You could keep your secret safe. She met his gaze, unwavering. No. Tonight, they'll see the truth. At exactly 4 o'clock. The Thompsons arrived. Evelyn watched from the shadows near the entrance of the private dining room. Michael looked impeccable in a tailored navy suit. His tie neatly knotted. A man polished by the courtroom. Ashley balanced a toddler on one hip, dressed in a soft cream blouse and tailored trousers. Her hair pulled back in a loose bun that softened her features. Their father, tall and stoic, wore his usual tweed jacket, a faint smile tugging at his lips. And her mother, Margaret, radiated pride, her ruby-red dress fluttering softly as she moved, a pearl necklace glinting against her skin. They admired the chandeliers, the polished oak, the sumptuous elegance of Marlowe's. And then their eyes caught Evelyn's. Her mother blinked, startled, before forcing a smile. Evelyn, you're here. I am. Evelyn said, stepping forward, heels clicking confidently on the polished floor. Seat 13, remember? A hush fell over the room. Michael exchanged a glance with Ashley, uncertain and uneasy. Uncle Robert, a broad-shouldered man with a booming voice and a laugh that filled the room, broke the silence. Well now, Evelyn, good to see you. What do you do these days? Still tinkering with food trucks? The words landed like a slap, though his tone was genial, unaware of their sting. Something like that, she replied with a faint smile. Dinner began under the soft glow of candlelight. Crystal glasses chimed, silverware whispered against fine china, and conversation danced around Michael's latest cases, Ashley's children, and Robert's endless boasting. Evelyn stayed quiet, listening, a silent observer in her own family's theater, until Robert turned back to her. And you, Evelyn? Your mother said you helped secure this reservation. That must mean you have powerful friends in the industry. Her mother stiffened, fork frozen midair, caught off guard by the spotlight swinging Evelyn's way. That I do, Evelyn said, voice steady. But not in the way you think. Michael chuckled lightly. Come on, Evelyn. Don't be mysterious. Who do you know? A matron? A wine supplier? Evelyn set her glass down with deliberate calm. I know the owner. The room fell silent. Margaret laughed nervously. Yes, she knows the owner. That's how we got back. I don't know. Evelyn said, voice sharper now. I am the owner. Forks paused halfway to mouths. Eyes widened. And the air thickened with disbelief. You? Robert said incredulously. You own Marlowe's? I do. Marlowe's and 6 other restaurants, 2 catering companies. Over 200 employees. Last year, we grossed £12 million. Michael blinked. Ashley's lips parted. Their father set down his glass with a muted clink. Margaret's face drained of color. I thought, she whispered, I thought you were still working food trucks. I was, Evelyn said evenly, but you never asked what it became. The silence grew heavier, shame twisting through it like smoke. The carefully constructed story of the struggling, unconventional daughter collapsed in front of everyone. Robert recovered first, voice booming again. Remarkable. From a truck to an empire. That's the grit I admire. You must be proud, Margaret. Her smile was stiff, voice brittle. Yes, of course I am. But her eyes, when they met Evelyn's, carried shame, regret, and something like feared as dessert arrived. Pumpkin tartlets with cinnamon gelato. The room's earlier bravado drained away, replaced by a fragile tension. Margaret leaned toward Evelyn, voice trembling. Why didn't you tell us? Evelyn met her gaze, calm but unyielding. Because you never asked. Tears glistened in her mother's eyes. I was wrong. Yes, Evelyn said softly. You were. Around the table, conversation buzzed, but between them stretched a silence that said everything. This night wasn't about food or celebration. It was about truth, raw and undeniable. The daughter they dismissed had become the one person they could no longer ignore. Margaret's hands twisted her napkin into shreds, her composure unraveling with each word. Uncle Robert tried to lighten the mood. Families misunderstand each other sometimes. Tonight can be a new beginning. But for Evelyn, the moment wasn't about smoothing over. It was about reckoning. Tell me honestly, she said, voice low. Were you sorry because you hurt me? Or because you didn't know I was successful? Her mother's breath caught. Both. Which matters more? Tears slipped free. Excluding you. That's what I regret most. Not your success. Just forgetting you were my daughter first. The admission cracked something inside Evelyn. A glimpse of the mother beneath the image-obsessed facade. The night ended with tentative hands held, fragile promises whispered, and the understanding that some wounds run deep and take time to heal. As they left the table, Evelyn caught her reflection in the polished glass doors of Marlowe's. Posture straight, chin high, for once, she wasn't invisible. But the question lingered. Would they ever truly see her? And beyond the warmth of the evening, a shadow stirred. A secret long buried, waiting in the wings, something that could unravel everything. The curtain was far from falling. The night after Thanksgiving, the city had quieted, but Evelyn lay awake in her sleek apartment overlooking the Canterbury skyline, the glow of street lamps painting soft patterns on the ceiling. The evening's revelations swirled in her mind like a tempest. The proud smiles, the stunned silence, the sharp edges of old wounds now laid bare. Her phone buzzed softly. A message from Ashley. Asterisk last night was intense, but I'm really glad you were there. We should have asked more, cared more. I'm sorry. Asterisk Evelyn's fingers hovered over the screen before she typed back. Asterisk thank you. It means a lot. Asterisk but the silence from Michael felt heavier than any words. His curt text the next day, asterisk you've done well. Congrats. Asterisk was a distant echo of approval, lacking warmth or connection. And her mother? Nothing. No call, no message. Just the quiet retreat into the shadowed corners of their house. Days slipped by, and work swallowed Evelyn whole once more. The endless whirl of menus to perfect, catering orders to finalize, staff to manage. Yet beneath the surface, a knot of unease tightened in her chest. The dinner had cracked open something fragile between them, but cracks could either heal or widen. A week later, Evelyn found herself driving to her parents' home in the sleepy village of Ashford. The front lawn was awash in autumn leaves, a carpet of gold and crimson. Inside, the air smelled of cinnamon candles and something older. Regret, maybe, or hope. Her mother was in the kitchen, folding laundry, her movements mechanical. When she saw Evelyn, she froze. Evelyn. She whispered, I think we need to talk, Evelyn said, setting down her bag. Margaret nodded, eyes glistening. They sat at the old oak kitchen table, the same where Evelyn had once done her homework, where silence had been louder than praise. Why didn't you call? Evelyn asked gently. Her mother twisted the fabric in her lap. Because I didn't know what to say. Everything I said that night sounded wrong. I didn't want to hurt you more. You already did, Evelyn said quietly. For years you made me feel less than Michael and Ashley. As if what I built didn't count. Tears spilled down Margaret's cheeks. I was wrong. I thought success had to look a certain way, a law degree, a family, something easy to explain. I didn't see what you built was greater. Her honesty shook Evelyn. Years of silent longing for recognition seemed to ripple in the words. But do you know what hurt most? Evelyn asked. You never asked. You never wanted to know what I was really doing or if I was happy. Margaret covered her mouth, sobbing softly. I hate myself for it. Evelyn reached across the table, hesitated, then laid her hand over her mother's. If you mean that, things have to change. Not just words, Mom. Actions. She nodded fiercely. They will. I promise. That promise became a seed. Over the next month, Margaret began showing up, not with judgment but with curiosity. She visited Marlowe's during the day, meeting staff, asking about suppliers and menus. Her questions were awkward at first but grew genuine. She volunteered at charity dinners, serving meals, her eyes opening to lives beyond polished surfaces. One evening, after a long service, Evelyn drove her home. In the quiet of the car, her mother's voice cracked. I told myself I wanted to protect you from disappointment. But I was the one disappointed, not in you but in my own expectations. I don't want to lose you again. Tell me how to make this right. Evelyn pulled the car to the curb, tears pricking her eyes. Just be my mother. Not my judge, not my critic. Just my mother. Margaret reached for her hand, and for the first time in years, Evelyn let her hold it. Yet beneath the fragile hope, a question lingered: had her mother changed, or simply learned a new role? Months passed, and their relationship evolved in slow, uneven steps. Margaret no longer asked first about profits but about Evelyn's well-being. She attended Ashley's children's school events and Michael's seminars with a warmth that surprised them all. At charity galas, she smiled, with genuine pride, watching Evelyn command her empire with quiet strength. But sometimes, Evelyn caught a glimpse of the old patterns, her mother's pride edged with performance, a rehearsed glow when introducing her as my daughter, the restaurateur. Was it love or image? One late summer night after closing Marlowe's, they sat together at the bar. The restaurant was empty, the air thick with the scent of garlic and wine. Margaret sipped tea. Evelyn nursed a glass of water. I've been thinking about Thanksgiving, her mother said cautiously. About how I excluded you. Evelyn's eyes stayed fixed on her glass. It wasn't about you. Margaret continued. It was fear. Fear you'd make me look small compared to Robert's children. I was shallow, and I'll regret that forever. Her honesty cut through years of armor. Evelyn searched her face for insincerity but found only vulnerability. Still, she asked the question that haunted her: if you hadn't known about my success, if I'd been struggling with food trucks, would you still regret excluding me? Tears brimmed in Margaret's eyes. Yes, because I excluded my daughter, not her achievements. The simplicity of those words nearly undid Evelyn. Love tested by success is easy. Love tested by failure, that's the true measure. The years that followed were woven with moments of grace and shadow. Evelyn no longer needed her family's approval. She had tasted the power of standing firm in her truth. Her mother still bragged at dinner parties about the empire Evelyn built from a humble truck, sometimes for image, sometimes from pride. But beneath the polished surface, Evelyn saw the quieter moments. Margaret's steady presence at charity events, her genuine questions, the rare "I'm proud of you" whispered without an audience. Maybe that was redemption, or maybe it was simply another act in a lifelong play. One evening, as the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Evelyn stood at the window of Marlowe's, the city alive beneath her. The night whispered promises and secrets, and somewhere in the shadows, a new mystery waited, one that could shatter or solidify everything she thought she knew. Because beneath the surface of her family's fragile peace, a hidden thread tugged at the edges of her world, a secret from the past, long buried, and it was coming to light. The soft hum of the restaurant's closing shifted into a heavy silence as Evelyn lingered near the window, the city lights flickering like distant stars below. Her mind churned with the evening's events, the fragile truce with her family already feeling like a delicate thread stretched taut. Her phone vibrated sharply on the polished oak counter. A message from Marcus. Unexpected visitor at Marlowe's. Wants to speak with you. Curiosity piqued. Evelyn slipped into a sleek, tailored navy blazer over her emerald dress, the sharp lines matching the resolve sharpening in her eyes. She clicked her heels softly down the marble staircase, the subtle scent of jasmine from her perfume trailing like a whispered promise. Stepping into the quiet foyer, she found a man waiting, tall, with a weathered face that spoke of years carved by hardship and secrets. His coat was worn, but his eyes were steady, piercing. "Ms. Marlowe?" His voice was low, edged with urgency. "Yes, and you are?" "Call me Harris." He reached into his coat and pulled out a folded envelope, worn but carefully sealed. Evelyn took it, the paper cool beneath her fingers. "This arrived this afternoon, addressed to you. No return address." She unfolded it carefully. Inside was a faded photograph, her as a child, standing outside a modest cottage, a woman's hand resting gently on her shoulder. The handwriting on the back was unfamiliar. Asterisk, "Not all family is blood. Trust the past to find the truth." Asterisk, her heart quickened. The woman in the photo wasn't her mother. "What is this?" she demanded. Harris's gaze darkened. "It's a warning. There are things your family never told you. Secrets that could change everything you believe about who you are." Evelyn's mind raced, the comfortable narrative of her life fracturing. The empire, the rejection, the fragile reconciliation, all suddenly seemed part of a larger puzzle. Why now? Why come to me tonight? Because the past has a way of catching up. And not everyone wants you to uncover it. Evelyn's breath caught. Behind her, the soft clatter of the restaurants closing echoed like a distant heartbeat. She folded the photograph carefully, the weight of its message settling deep. "Thank you, Harris. I need to know more." He nodded once, somber. "Be careful, Ms. Marlowe. The truth can be a knife sharper than any chef's blade." As he turned and slipped into the night, Evelyn's fingers trembled. The shadows outside seemed darker now, the city's glitter masking a secret waiting to unravel. Tonight, the curtain had risen on a new act, and the story was far from over.